Welcome to Country's Family Reunion 2010. Can you believe it's been 13 years since we had the first reunion? Wow, so many great memories. And yet somehow year after year, the reunions just get better and better. With a whole new group of country music legends, plus all the reunion favorites you've come to know and love, this gathering just might be the best yet. So sit back and relax as we share some stories, songs, moments that'll touch your heart. Welcome to Country's Family Reunion 2010.
Everybody's invited. Everybody's here. Yeah. Welcome, everybody, to Country's Family Reunion. Before we do anything else, guys and gals, I think I found the trouble spot in the room. And I didn't have to go very hard to find it. What?
You were singing the wrong words.
Oh, really? What were the right words?
Gonna have a family reunion, a good old-fashioned outdoor barbecue. Gonna have a family reunion. Even if your 15th cousin, you're invited to.
Even if your fifth cousin.
And she made us do it.
Even if your fifth cousin.
That's what I said, troublemaker. Barbara Fairchild, Gene Shepard, and Johnny. Johnny, how did you get in there, Johnny?
I got halfway up and stepped on my cord and it jerked me back down.
Can you imagine that?
No, not that cord. This ain't got no cord.
That cord jerking him down.
He's gonna be.
Let's get some music. Family reunions is about fun and stories and songs. It's also about music. Johnny, you're up first.
Oh, really?
Yes, you are.
I promise you, I won't
Talked
love
yourself into
Can I do
that,
it from
didn't
my
you?
chair?
Do it from
I'm
wherever
afraid to
you want.
stand up. It'll jerk me back down again.
I'd like to see that.
Well, sure. Let me get right on that.
Get your lasso.
This is a song about an old boy that went out, and he wasn't supposed to be going out, and he got caught. Behind the bar, I see some crazy things. I watch those disappearing wedding rings. A telephone call paging so-and-so. There he is, shaking his head no. He's got this girl hanging all over him. He can't quit now, he's gone out on a limb. The place turned quiet as a mummy's tomb. Guess who happened to walk in the room? You could have heard a heartbreak. You could have heard a teardrop. I feel so bad for her sake. Now what's she gonna do? The chances that a fool takes, never knowing when to stop. You could have heard a heartbreak breaking right in two. She walked on over with tears in her eyes and knows she's gonna hear a pack of lies. The silence is deafening, all eyes are on her. What will she say to that innocent girl? Her hands start shaking, the words don't come. She's in shock, her whole body is numb. Everyone there is holding their breath. With the slightest whisper, we'll know what she says. You could have heard a heartbreak. You could have heard a teardrop. I feel so bad for her sake. Now what's she gonna do? The chances that a fool takes, never knowing when to stop. Oh, you could have heard a heartbreak breaking right in two. You could have heard a heartbreak bad for her sake. What's she gonna do? The chances that a fool takes, never knowing when to stop. Oh, you could have heard a heartbreak breaking right in two. Could have heard a heartbreak.
What a group.
Great job, Johnny.
Thank you.
Could have heard a cough drop. Some of y'all may not know this, but a few months ago, we took Country's family reunion out on the road for the very first time. Jeannie, Jim, Ed, Helen, and we met up with a lot of people in Branson. We went to Branson. That was a lot of fun, wasn't it?
It was.
It was.
It was a great trip. Learned some things, too, along the way.
Such as?
Well, conversations on a bus can get really interesting.
Let's move right along.
Yeah. And before I forget, I saved you the embarrassments on the songwriter show. I asked Bill one time, I said, I just have to ask you this. How can anyone who can write such an incredibly beautiful song as Still write Peel Me a Nanner? His answer was, it was a long bus trip. Well, the bus trip from Nashville to Branson got interesting, and you and Jim Ed were just amazing to me. I mean, just through the years having traveled with both of you, how the conversation has changed through the years and what you're interested in. And I came up front at one time and they were
Jim Ed's still interested.
they were so intent in this conversation. And so I thought, well, I need to hear this. I'm listening. And they were discussing hearing aids. And Jim Ed was telling all about whatever. And anyway, real serious Bill said, well, I may have to just check into that further one of these days. And I said, Bill, what if you do and you find out you've been shouting all these years?
Let me tell one on Helen.
Oh,
On
yeah.
the bus. Okay. Helen comes on the bus. Okay. She's got this big, beautiful cherry pie with her. Now, she says she didn't actually say this, but I think she said, I made you guys a cherry pie.
I did not say
Yes,
that.
you did.
I
You
told
said-
you my daughter brought it from catering. That was it.
But that's because you
But
didn't
you
have
did.
a hearing aid.
You didn't have your hearing aid.
Let me interpret.
It's
I wasn't even there.
That's right. Barbara was on the show.
I said it's homemade.
Well, all right, we got the impression it was
Yes,
homemade.
yes,
It was
yes.
it was as good a cherry pie as any of us
Oh, it was
ever
good.
ate. We talked
Yes.
about that. And then I got home and I was telling a friend of mine, and she says, can you get the recipe? I said, sure. So I emailed Helen. I said, would you send me the recipe for the homemade cherry pie? She said, the recipe, go to Sam's Club and get one.
I asked my daughter, and she said, Mother, Nancy made everything else homemade, but she bought the cherry crumb crust pie from Sam's.
So Sam should be sending us all one.
That's exactly right. Or Kroger's, but yeah. It was good, though. You had you fooled.
Well, take some conversations back now, 10, 20 years ago. What kind of conversations would those been? That's what I'd like to
It
know.
would be
Jeannie,
high.
how hard is it to travel on a bus with a bunch of guys now?
I know you're younger, but you were here 10 years ago.
Well, no, 20 years ago. But, I'm just curious how interesting it'd go back, because I know it's got to be tough to be on a bus with a bunch of guys and band members. You got to be a tough gal to
somebody
travel
had
with guys.
to do it. You know. Well, I'm still doing it, so it couldn't have been too bad.
I know one thing, when Jim, Ed, and Helen got together on the show and did one of their duets, Tore the House Down. What year did y'all win the duet of the year?
1977.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you still sound just as good today as you did then.
Thank you so much.
I like it.
So very
Hey,
kind
Bill,
of you.
I have a question. Gary over here, I've just been watching him.
I don't know if y'all have watched him or not, but something happens. He's got something in his mouth that I think it's a guitar pick.
Probably a turkey call.
Well, I was wondering because I know he's guides and all. He's a big hunter, but I think he does. I don't know if he guides for turkeys or not. But how do you keep that guitar pick in your mouth like that?
Well, it's like this.
Piece of gum.
But you know what?
Now, I don't know if it's different. I sing with this. I sing with a guitar pick in my. You see me sing.
Yes.
On Broadway, you sang with the guitar pick?
No, and when I did Broadway, I had a halls in my mouth. Oh, yeah. It's true, but back before I started making records, when I played in clubs back in Denver, I played the worst lead guitar on the planet, most of the time finger picked. But if I needed to play lead, I needed a pick. So I'd have it and I'd pick, and then I'd throw it in my mouth, the finger pick or whatever, and I always sang. So when I started now I just play acoustic guitar, I just always have had a guitar pick in my mouth, and it.
Have you ever swallowed one?
I've come close twice, but.
Note to self, don't borrow a guitar pick from Gary Moore.
You'd be surprised how many people actually ask for my pick after the show.
They're trying to get your DNA.
No, there's probably have already cloned a pick.
Mostly women, I presume.
I know why you take care of that guitar pick.
Why's that?
The way you do, because it takes a long time to grow a toenail out long enough to make one.
That's true.
Now that's country.
I didn't have my glasses on. I thought that was Kenny Rogers over there.
The thing is, it's a distraction for me, and I need the distraction, or I start thinking about what I'm singing. And if I start thinking about what I'm singing, then I'll go somewhere else. So. I've always done it, so I need to get probably a more neutral color than green.
Have you ever swallowed one of them?
I haven't, but I've come close twice, and it was following like a hiccup and a burp at the microphone, and trying to hold all that in. I almost sucked down a pick. But it hadn't happened yet.
Aren't you glad you asked that, Jim Ed?
I saw him on stage one time, and he kept taking it out of his mouth and putting it back in. And I said, "Is that his guitar pick? What is that he's taking out?" Now I'm finding out. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to take up everybody's time. I just wanted to find out what.
If you put one in, you can sing both yours and Helen's part.
Well, that might be.
I'd stay away from the yodeling though with the guitar pick in my mouth. Four of the most colorful guys in all of country and Western music. Yeah. Why did they quit calling it country and Western music?
Well, we hadn't come along yet. We're bringing it back. Well, they're different, country and Western and music. What's the difference, Len? Well, country's about getting drunk and sitting on your bar stool and feeling sorry for yourself and hitting on your neighbor's wife, whereas Western music is about free life and fresh air and riding your horse across the wide open plains and hitting on your neighbor's sheep, so it's a whole nother... It's really a whole nother... It's a whole nother deal.
And I think I'd take a look at what you got on your leg.
Well, yes. This is results of a tragic Rogaine spill here. So.
You get spiders in those things?
Yeah, no, these are chia chaps, actually. I grow these. That lady laughed. That's all it takes for you. That's all it takes.
Bill, they started out playing country Eastern music, but the big hit of I'm a Yogi from Muskogee wasn't going anywhere.
That's the cowboy ghetto down there. What is it? Hello now.
Howdy, welcome to the fair.
Big Tex. Big Tex.
We haven't done a lot in the way of Western music traditionally on the family reunions. We got a big dose of it this time. I guess I should say these are the riders in the sky. What is it you call yourselves? America's most beloved cowboys or something?
Self-styled America's favorite cowboys. America's favorite cowboys. We started calling ourselves that when we were not even known in Davidson County. And so we said, this will be great. We'll be America's favorite cowboys. Yeah. And now we sort of are. So it sort of became that.
You're the only guys I know, and I guarantee you're the only people in this room that can sit right here and tell us right now how many concerts you have performed since this group has been together.
That's right. Today is number 5,867.
Wow.
Yeah. 32
Why
years.
do you count them?
32 years, Bill, doing life the cowboy way.
Well, I can't stand up.
All right, you're up. Go ahead. Let's hear some
My
cowboy
cord jerked
music.
me down.
I've got the Johnny Lee syndrome here.
Yeah, I know.
A good cord will do that. How long is this thing anyhow?
Can we get a song?
A song?
Song?
Well, the cowboy way.
Why not?
Are we going to play up?
We're going to play up there.
We're going to play up yonder.
Billy's going to
right
get a microphone, and I'm going to get untangled.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Oh.
Shower light.
Now he's ready.
Are we here?
We're here.
We're here, all right.
We're here.
So what is it?
Well, I think we ought to do the song from Toy Story 2 that got us our 2 Grammy Awards.
Exactly right.
Woody's Roundup.
Yes.
3, 4. Woody's Roundup, right here every day. Woody's Roundup, come on, it's time to play. There's Jessie the yodeling cowgirl, yodelay, yodelay, yodelay. Bullseye, he's Woody's horse. He's a smart man. Beat the old prospector, and Woody the man himself. Of course, it's time for Woody's Roundup. He's the very best. He's the rootinest, tootinest cowboy in the wild, wild west.
She was born in Oklahoma in the rolling Osage Hills, and she rode her pinto pony at full gallop for her thrills. Her yodel swept the country, an epidemic that all caught us. Now everybody knows her as the epiglottis goddess.
They call her Jessie,
the yodeling cowgirl. The yodelay, 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 yodelay.
Yeah, she's Jessie, the yodeling cowgirl.
She rides along and yodels a song from dawn till dusk till dawn.
'Cause she's Jessie, the yodeling cowgirl.
Yodelay, 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 yodelay.
Gene Shepherd's here, look out.
Yodelay, 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 yodelay.
It was a wonderful time at the Grammys, wasn't it? Such a good time.
Now do that with your guitar pick in your mouth.
Oh, no. The last show we ever gave.
Oh.
Man. But the Grammys were fun, Bill.
They were
That was
fun.
a lot.
You know, it's such a thrill to go there and see all the people, the glamorous stars, the glamorous people, the lights, the cameras, the beautiful starlet in the slinky gown on that stage, handing you those big golden trophies.
Oh, the starlet with the big golden trophies.
We'll never
Wow.
forget that night.
Never forget that.
But
no.
backstage, you know, you get to hang out. I mean, a lot of you here have been there, but you get to hang out with the superstars.
Oh, the greats
I
are
mean,
there.
you were over there
I was
talking to Eminem.
Talking to Eminem, yeah. I said, yo, I'm too slim, yes, I'm the real slim. All the other two slims are not the same as him. Well, the real too slim, please stand up, please stand up, please stand up. He said, yo, my name's Too Slim, and I'm here to say that I'm going to entertain you in the cowboy way. I'm going to varmint dance, I'm going to play my bass, I'm going to get down, I might play my face. Yo. That's my new kind of music.
What is?
I'm combining cowboy music with rap music.
You're kidding.
I am.
What do you call it?
Crap music.
Oh.
They're already playing it on the radio. It's
all
gonna
over
be,
the radio.
I think so.
Did Kanye West come up and try to take your trophy away?
Yeah, Conway from far out west. Yeah.
In addition to Western music, there's another form of Western entertainment, and we've got one of the top guys in that field anywhere in the world with us today. He's like, what is it? Cowboy poetry? Is that the right word
that's
for
what
it?
they're calling it. You know, it didn't really have a place or a name attached to it until 1984 in Elko, Nevada. A bunch of folklorists had got together and decided to show a piece of Western history that nobody really knew of, except for pretty much the insiders and the cowboys. And it is called now cowboy poetry.
Are you a real cowboy?
No, Bill, I was for 26 years, but I'm doing this now. And a cowboy isn't a state of mind, it's an occupation. And so this is what I do now.
You travel all over the world doing the poetry, sharing it with people?
I do. Believe it or not, people will come and listen to somebody spew poetic.
Is the Western, the whole Western culture thing, is it making any kind of a big comeback, or is it ever really not gone away anywhere?
Well, I'd say it has to make a comeback. Let's say it's making its first come. It never really had a place. It didn't find its way into the cowboy culture that Hollywood had produced. And so what it's doing now, it's giving the cowboy a chance to tell his own story.
Do you write the stories that you tell?
I write an awful lot, but I also love to bring in the old-time stuff so we don't forget it.
Share something with us.
Well, we were trotting home for dinner. Our day thus far had been a winter. We'd been turning out some pears on railroad lease. I was riding with old Jim, and if I was asked to describe him, I'd have to say he was a cowboy masterpiece. We stopped to let our horses blow when in a canyon down below we spied a neighbor doing battle with a steer. That brood had sulled and brushed up thick in some willows near the creek. A full-scale war had been declared, and that was clear. Now, I'd had cattle sull on me, and it was obvious to see that a reconciliation wouldn't come, and from experience, I knew if he continued to pursue that fight, there'd be one of them hurt before it's done. Jim just rolled himself a smoke and snickered like it was a joke while we both sat and watched this feller fight his head. That cowboy'd cuss and froth and yelp. I asked, suppose we should go and help? But old Jim then got philosophical and said, if he'd just let that brute calm down, then bring an old cow back around, that steer likely follow it to Oregon. I ain't saying it's wrong to fight if you've got to, and you're right, but before you do, it's good to know what side you're on. Like when we was maybe 6 and 9, me and my brother was inclined to get ourselves in trouble while we were trying to be good. Oh, it'd be our fault, sure enough. It'd be innocent young kid stuff that would oftentimes just be misunderstood. Like one hot day, we'd gone to church. In a pew, we took a perch. It had been raining. The air was thick and wet, which made it hard to stay awake, because about as much as we could take with the snoring and the preaching and the sweat. The gal who sat in front of him and me had, well, perspired profusely. And when she rose, her clothes were clinging, so to speak. Adding to this situation, on closer examination, we saw her dress had lodged itself between her cheeks. Sure looked uncomfortable in there. We couldn't help ourselves but stare, and being just waist high, we really saw it good. Not being one to leave things be, my brother pulls the dress out free, alleviating the whole problem where she stood. Well, she turned quick. He just smiled, never dreaming she'd be riled, but instead of thanks, she hit him with her purse, which knocked my brother to the ground. She glared at me, then turned around. Folks, things was bad, but trying to help, I made it worse. See, I'd known something made her mad to hit my brother like she had, and I figured it must be the dress, confound it. So using sweat marks for a guide, I turned my whole hand on inside and I slipped it right back in the way we found it. Well, this time it was me that felt her wrath, which knocked my senses off their path. I carry purse scars with me to this day. I guess we got what we were doing. When we finally come to, I learned a lesson I'm gonna share with you today. It ain't always smart to offer aid to situations you ain't made. History tells me not to fight a losing battle. It's like my daddy always said, son, sometimes best quit while you're ahead, 'cause there ain't no figuring women or sold up cattle.
Waddy Mitchell, that is great.
Thank you.
That is. Now, when you do that, do you normally have music accompanying you, or do you just do it alone?
Generally, I'm kind of out there on my own.
But not today, Waddy.
Not today.
Do you guys ever do anything like that, or do you work with Waddy or any of the other cowboy poets?
We worked with Waddy many times, and in fact, we're going to next week back in Elko, Nevada, at the big cowboy poetry gathering. 25th annual or something like that? 26th annual? 26th. Yeah.
And what number show will that be?
Well, we'll worry about that when we get there.
Lay another good Western song on us while we got the Riders in the Sky at the microphone.
All right. Let's do one of Woody Paul's great tunes. I'm going to get my other guitar over here.
All right.
Why don't you get your Gibson guitar, Ranger Doug?
Yeah, get that fine new Gibson guitar you got there, Ranger Doug.
Beautiful new guitar.
That's a beautiful Gibson guitar.
Gibson folks sent you that wonderful Gibson guitar, didn't they?
Nothing.
And the great thing is you don't have to do anything in return for the use of that wonderful Gibson guitar, do you?
But look, it says Gibson, Gibson. Isn't that wonderful?
Wouldn't it be great if there was an 800 number?
Come
someone
1-800-4-Gibson?
That would be great. That would be really great. What a great thing that they did there.
All right, Woody.
Shameless.
All right, which one of the
Shameless.
Woody Paul numbers are we going to do?
Shameless. That's our style. The
Brought
arms
us
of
to
our
where we
Lord.
are today.
Silver moon sailing high across the wide prairie sky, lead me home to the arms of my love. Why did I ever go chasing cattle and rainbows far away from the arms of my love? Does she wait by the firelight, cry through the long night? Does she dream of the cowboy who rode through her heart? Dusty trail, lead me on, and I'll never roam evermore from the arms of my love.
That's great, guys. Doug, let me ask you a couple of Real quick questions. Number one, how many songs do you guys know? I don't know if I've ever heard you do the same song twice.
Well, we certainly don't do it the same way twice.
I think it's 3,704 songs.
Yeah, at last count.
And what's the secret to keeping the same group of guys together as long as you guys have been together?
Separate hotel rooms. Yeah.
I think we can all relate to that. Is that?
Yeah, 32 and a half years.
Well, that's
together.
terrific. And you're still fresh and as entertaining as ever, man. I'll
If,
let you.
if one of y'all gets sick, it'd be kind of hard to find a sub, wouldn't it?
No.
I like to think so, but
It'd be hard to find somebody with the clothes is the problem.
yeah, it's all about the clothes. We could send the shirts out on tour and we could stay home. I think that would
Thought of doing it, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Bill, if I could say something, I'm, live in Branson, have for a number of years now, and the Roy Rogers Museum has been in Branson for several years, and his son Dusty has done a show there and will continue to do that. And I'm ashamed to say that we didn't go see the museum until this past year. And Dusty was telling us he was going to have to sell the collection. They were supposed to auction it off at Christie's. I don't know, and we haven't talked to him since they did that. But it was the most amazing thing going through that museum and seeing all the things that Roy and Dale, had accomplished in their life. And, the sense I got, this is a well-lived life here. They really did wonderful things for this world and for the people in it. And it struck me, when y'all were talking and listening to your music, and then the kind of comments you made about it never really having a place like it should. And one of the things, we had a long talk with Dusty, and he called the Smithsonian and about Roy's collection because he wanted to try to keep it together. And they said, well, we might take a shirt. And he's got other siblings, and his dad told him, said, if it ever gets to the point where this costs you too much and you need to sell it, I want you to know that you can. But it's heartbreaking for Dusty. And in the world that we live in today, there's so many things that are not valued as it should be, just like what country music means to us. And this is such a wonderful thing that Larry's doing in preserving what he is of country music. Because I feel sad for the younger generations that don't understand how important these kind of things are. And I feel sad that they're going to lose the knowledge of these kind of things and what they meant and what the greatness really that they added to America. And so it's just beautiful to hear y'all. And when you talked about all these years that you've been together, and you're funny, I like that. But I'm sure it's the love of what you do and the treasure of the music that you share that has caused you to be so close together. So thank you.
Yeah, very well put, Barbara. Thank you.
Barbara, it'd be the easy way, just to go out and play a few gigs and then break up.
Sure.
But it wouldn't be
the Cowboy way.
That's right, and we thank you for it.
Well, we got to work with Roy. We knew Roy, and he would come out to our shows, and we were just, you talk about excited about someone in an audience, and Roy and Dusty sitting at the front table there watching. It was like, whoa, right off the movie screen, because he was certainly my idol when I was a kid growing up. And I think Tex Ritter was a big guy for you, wasn't he?
Yeah, I love Tex.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah. Just.
You guys were involved with Gene Autry in some way in his later years too, weren't you?
Yes, but not, we didn't perform with him, but yes, he came out to see us a few times, and we got to meet him, and it's a pretty big thrill, really, looking back on it now, to have known a lot of those guys, Eddie Dean and Ray Whitley and Monty Hale and Jimmy Wakely and a lot of the great singing Cowboys, a lot of the Sons of the Pioneers, Bob Nolan. I mean, those are memories you can't replace now.
Is anybody else doing exactly what you guys are doing? Are there any other groups out there
No
today?
one would be that foolish, would they?
Let's see.
At one time, the Sons of the Pioneers were still together.
Well,
and
they
some-
still are.
Yeah,
They're out in Branson, and they have a great group, and they're getting back to the acoustic sound that they started with, and it's just a wonderful group. Everybody ought to go see them. And the Sons of the San Joaquin, our friends from California, they're rolling around the country and still performing great music.
Yeah, the Chuck Wagon guys out west, the Bar D and the Flying J and the Flying W guys.
A lot of great individual guys. Don Edwards is one of them, for sure. Wonderful singer.
So
Well,
their
thank y'all
tradition.
for bringing it here to the family reunion in Sharon.
Thanks for asking.
Terrific. The Riders in the Sky.
I didn't realize about the Western harmonies because their harmonies are so unique. It's not like the country trio harmonies. And we got called, Dennis and I, by Joey he was producing a solo album on Ranger Doug a few years back and asked if we would plug in the trio parts. So we went in and we have done all kinds of styles, all of us have, anything from country to gospel to rock and roll to pop, you name it. But we had never done the actual Western, the Cowboy way. And I wasn't prepared for that. When we went in, we started plugging in country harmonies, didn't we, Dennis? And even though it fit, Joey says, let me suggest. And he taught us how to sing the Western harmonies. And I was so proud of myself, and I know you were too, Dennis, that by the time we got through, I felt I had been to college.
Well,
by
is the difference in the in the phrasing?
No, it's the difference in the notes.
Yeah, the intervals between the notes are just different, very different.
Completely different. And that's the only person we've worked that way with, and it was an honor.
That was our
honor.
honor.
But next time you listen to them, notice their harmonies, because it's not like the country trios that we used to do with Conway Twitty and that you all do around, and different ball game. And I was honored to be a part of that.
You know
and
who
I
else was on
Dennis
that record and did such a great job was Jimmy Capps.
Oh,
Jimmy
excellent.
Capps played wonderful
Excellent.
acoustic guitar on that record. Also, Jimmy Capps was on the short subject we did for Pixar that went on to win an Academy Award called For the Birds.
Wow.
Hey, yeah. Jimmy played the fastest he ever played in his life, I think. But it's so different because a lot of musicians will come and record with us from time to time, and without thinking about it, they'll grab a guitar, and they'll see a chord chart for the Western music, and they go, "Oh my,"
Yeah.
because there are so many chords. It's more like wouldn't you say like big band music, Ranger Doug, right? Like
Yeah.
swing, much more like
I
swing.
think so. I think a lot of the Western music that was written in the 30s and 40s was profoundly influenced by swing music of the time.
Could you all do one chorus of Tumbling Tumbleweeds?
Oh, I think we could do that.
Sure.
I would love to hear that part
That'd be fine.
on your Gibson guitar.
And you can join in if you would like to.
You can sing along with the Gibson guitar.
They make a cherry pie, too.
It's killer.
See them tumbling down, pledging their love to the ground. Lonely but free I'll be found, drifting along with the tumbling tumbleweeds. Cares of the past are behind, nowhere to go but I'll find just where the trail will wind, drifting along with the tumbling tumbleweeds. I know when night has gone that a new world's born at dawn. I keep rolling along. Deep in my heart is a song. Here on the range I belong, drifting along with the tumbling tumbleweeds, drifting along with the tumbling tumbleweeds.
fun.
That's great, guys. Thank you.
Any more requests?
No, you can rest your Gibson guitar now. Go, sit down and rejoin with us. Barbara, your comments about the Roy Rogers and keeping things alive. I'm looking over my shoulder here at Mandy Barnett, who in such a different way and a different style has done so much to keep the memory of one of the greatest female singers in the world alive, Miss Patsy Cline. You played the part of Patsy Cline in the stage production. That must be, to do that show and be Patsy Cline at the Ryman Auditorium, where I've seen you do it a couple of different times. What in the world does that make you feel like?
Well, it's an honor, and I'm very protective of Patsy's legacy, and I want to do right by her. And it can definitely be nerve-wracking at times. Big shoes to fill.
Well, sitting in that audience, and I was fortunate enough, as many of us were, to know Patsy and to work with her. I mean, there were times when I honestly believed that was her standing up on that stage.
Wow. Well, that's a real compliment. Thank you.
Well, I mean it as a compliment. Of course, to look at Mandy right now with her long hair, and you wouldn't think necessarily Patsy Cline, but boy, when they put on the makeup and you put on replicas, I guess, of her old clothes and all, I mean, you look so much like her.
It's quite a process. I have to start 2 or 3 hours early, and I usually go in with my hair wet and put it in pin curls and just tighten it down with some hose, and it takes a while to get that wig on the top of this hair.
Did you grow up as a fan of Patsy's music?
Absolutely. From the time I was 8 years old, that was around the first time I ever heard her. Before that, I'd been singing a lot of gospel, Southern gospel music, and then my mother she'd bought a greatest hits cassette home one day, and that was the first time I ever heard her, and I just fell in love with her voice.
And you auditioned for this part, right? There were other people that tried to get the part, and you won the
Yes,
audition?
just right from high school, and someone called me the day of and said that there was a audition for something to do with Patsy Cline. And so I just decided spur of the moment to go and went to the mall to find a karaoke tape. And there was only one left. There weren't any hits on there. It was all of her obscure numbers. So I sang Someday You'll Want Me to Want You. And had a picture of me standing in a graveyard smoking a cigarette. It's the only picture I had. So I took it with me, and it was about 109 in line, and I was the last one standing.
So how many times now do you think since that day you have gone on the stage as Patsy Cline? Any idea?
I don't really know. I think I don't know, I did it for 6 months each in 94 and 95, and since then we've done about 4 runs. I don't know, several times.
The list I've got here that says what you're going to sing is not a Patsy Cline song, but Mike, could y'all, I don't know, pick just a little bit of one of Patsy's songs so we can kind of illustrate what we're talking about.
We could do, how about Crazy in B flat?
They can play about as crazy in B flat as anybody.
Is that all right? There we go. Crazy, I'm crazy for feeling so lonely. I'm crazy, crazy for feeling so blue. I knew you'd love me as long as you wanted, and then someday you'd leave me for somebody new. for loving you.
Unrehearsed. That's great. And the Carol Lee's joining in. That was terrific. I've done that before.
What a great
And
band.
thanks, Mike, for all the group. Okay, I said that wasn't the song that was on the list. Thank you for doing that for me and everybody else. But the one that's on the list is pretty good, too, and it has nothing to do with Patsy Cline.
That's right. And I think I'm going to stand up for this one. That was a little rough.
Better be.
You left me and you went away. You said that you'd be back in just a day. You've broken your promise, and you've left me here to roam. I don't know why you did, dear, but I do know that you're gone. I'm walking the floor over you. I can't sleep a wink, that is true. I'm hoping and I'm praying as my heart breaks right in two. Walking the floor over you. All right, Jimmy. Now someday you may be lonesome too, but walking the floor is good for you. Just keep right on walking and it won't hurt you to cry. Remember that I love you and I will the day I die. I'm walking the floor over you. I can't sleep a wink, that is true. I'm hoping and I'm praying as my heart breaks right in two. Walking the floor over you. I'm walking the floor over you. Thank you.
Great job, Mandy.
What a gift.
Thank you, Mandy Barnett. I couldn't help but watch Ray Benson back there in the back of the room. You've heard a little music like that a few times in your life, hadn't you, pal?
Oh yeah, and Mandy and I made a record together. And,
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Western swing record?
No, it was a country record. Actually, it was a song I wrote in the letter that Johnny Walker read.
Oh yeah.
It was a big hit way back in '05, and we did
What's
a
your
remake.
take? Being, of course, you got the great Western swing group, Asleep at the Wheel. What's your take on with the Waddy and the Riders and all? What do you have?
Well,
to
we've
add?
worked together, and the Riders I've known since before their first gig. Doug was the first guy when we started the band. Of course, we started the band in late 1969, early 1970, and I'd never seen Bob Wills. We'd heard his records, and Doug, along with Bob Pinson and some other guys, took us down to the Country Music Hall of Fame and showed us the films of Bob Wills, and Doug said, "I'm starting a group here in a little while," and finally, dug these guys out of the. I don't know where the hell he found them, but
on parole.
Oh yeah. But yeah, so what was your question?
I just was wondering how you fit in and what your take was and all of it.
Well,
I mean, you've popularized so much Western music.
Yeah, of course. We loved all kinds of music: country music, Western music, roots music was why Sleep at the Wheel was formed. We felt like that, much like the writers, that a lot of, and Mandy, and a lot of the traditional, or not even traditional, but a lot of the music that had been done in the 30s, 40s, and 50s had been forgotten by the 70s. Shoot, we used to do your songs. I told you, we used to do the Cold Hard Facts of Life, man. Send them screaming into the streets with that one.
I won't ask you what they were screaming.
They were all getting their guns and knives. But yeah, because we just love Americana music, American music. If you realize, that recorded music only goes back, less than 100 years now. And we were one of the first generations that could actually find this music. We used to go back to, I remember going down to Lower Broadway and going, I can't remember the store, but upstairs they had thousands of these 78 records, and we used to just buy them for 50 cents and then learn the stuff. And then, of course, we'd go visit and meet with all the old folks, like they were saying, the cowboy singers, the Western singers, the poets, just to meet the guys. As Doug said, we were so lucky to have met the great players and the great singers, songwriters. And then the things we discovered, like, walking through a restaurant one day and Gene Shepard saying, yeah, I used to sing with Bob Wills. Every chance I got. And I think that part of what Joey and I were talking about was the effect of popular music on Western music and country music was such a huge influence, and the bands back in them days, there weren't a lot of songs. There weren't a whole lot of songwriters in the 30s and 40s. There were great songwriters, but Western bands, country bands, pop bands, everybody played a lot of the same songs. And so the influences kind of crossed over and everything. Of course, Bob Wills was one of those guys that broke down all barriers and just did what he wanted to do. And I think that is another great attribute of the Texas music, is that you sort of just say, whatever comes out is what we're going to do.
Well, that's very close kin to jazz. A lot of improvisation.
Which is Southern music. Everybody seems to forget that jazz was Southern music, born and raised in Mississippi, Texas, New Orleans, and of course it migrated north and became what it is. But yeah, and you go back to the earliest times and you find great performers just integrating whatever music that they heard into their things. Take Merle Travis, for instance, one of the greatest of all times. And Merle, of course, Kentucky, and learned from the blues a lot of stuff, but then, of course, took all of the kinds of music, Western swing, jazz, etc., and incorporated them into great guitar music. So, yippee-ki-yo-ki-yay, Cowboys.
Gene Shepard, you sang with Bob Wills in his band?
Yes, many times. The first time I sang with him was the biggest thrill of my life. And when he stepped up and said, "Haw," behind me, I like to wet my britches. It was such a thrill to have that man say, "Ah," and oh my God, this is the ultimate. I went home, it was 2 o'clock in the morning, I called my grandmother, who was a big Bob Wills fan, and I said, "Guess who I sang with?" "I don't know, and I don't care" at 2 o'clock in the morning. I said, "Bob Wills." Well, she got real interested then. But I got some funny stories. It'll all be in my book. I told her a couple of them.
Yeah.
About Bob and Luke and Johnny Lee and Billy Jack and all of them.
Would this have been in California when you were living there?
Yeah.
Had they come through on tour or something?
Right. Yeah. That's the first time I ever met Tommy Duncan, who's the greatest Western swing singer. Bob didn't call his music anything. He said it was just music. He didn't call it Western swing. He got tagged with that. But anyway, and I love Tommy Duncan. He's,
great singer.
And I'll never forget, he told me, he said, I went to see him. I would go early so I could see all of them set up their instruments and everything. And Tommy said, "Sweetheart, the next time you see me, I won't be with the Playboys." Oh, it crushed me. And I said, "Why?" And his answer was, he said, "I've taken care of a band for 10 years that wasn't mine. Now I'm going to get one that's mine." And the next time I seen him was Tommy Duncan and the All-Stars. Great man. I love Tommy. Of course, I love Bob, too.
Did you go to Bob and ask if you could get up and sing with the band?
No,
or
I
did
was
he-
booked with him on several dates. From some, I don't know who booked the
Oh,
dates.
so you were actually a part of it?
Yeah,
You
right,
weren't-
yeah.
Oh, okay.
But every time I went to see him, he'd always make sure I could get up and sing, you know.
Yeah.
He was a great man. He contributed so much. I just, you know. But to have somebody step up that you've listened to all your life say that little aha, you know. When he done that, I just shook. I just trembled. I really did.
Almost wet my pants just now. I'm joking.
I'm gonna knock it out of you if you don't.
I think that might be a good place for us to take a little short break.